Isang lalaking natutulog sa rail tracks na gulungan ng tren.
Naku naman, bakit naman kasi siya humiga sa rilis ng tren? Naku, ayan po ang aabangan natin sa mga balitang ibabahagi maya-maya. Magandang gabi. Ako po si Ricky Matay.
Ako si Nina Richie Alagaw Flores. Ito ang mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga headlines ngayong araw ng Lunes.
Malacanang iginiit na wala itong natatanggap na Interpol Red Notice para kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte.
Maximum suggested retail price sa karning baboy sa NCR, kasado na.
Canada nakapili na ng bagong Prime Minister.
Argentina nagdeklara ng 3-day national mourning para sa 16 na nasawi sa malawakang pagbaha.
At Alibaba, kinakaribal na ang DeepSeek sa artificial intelligence. Kinumpirma ni Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro na walang hawak ang Malacanang na opisyal na dokumento o kopya ng umano'y warrant of arrest laban kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte.
May mga ulat kasing nagsasabing may na-issue na raw na red notice ang Interpol kaugnay sa arrest warrant kay dating Pangulong Duterte, ang International Criminal Court o ICC dahil sa mga umano'y kaso ng extrajudicial killings dahil sa war on drugs sa ilalim ng dating administrasyon. Tinukoy din ni Castro na maging ang Department of Justice ay walang natatanggap na komunikasyon ukol sa red notice. Binigyan diin ng tagapagsalita na narinig lang daw nila ang ukol sa arrest warrant sa report ng isang pahayagan. Bagaman wala pang kumpirmasyon kung may arrest warrant na nga laban kay PRRD, nananawagan na si Castro sa mga Duterte supporters na huwag makialam upang maiwasan ang kaguluhan. Samantala, tumangging magkomento ang Office of the Prosecutor ng ICC sa kumakalat na ulat. Giit ni ICC OTP Public Information Unit na hindi nagkokomento ang ICC sa mga isinasagawa nitong investigasyon at hindi rin nagkokomento sa mga kauring impormasyon. At dahil walang police powers ang ICC, umaasa na lamang ito sa Interpol at sa law enforcement agencies ng mga bansa na kaalyado ng Interpol para sa pag-aresto at pagkukulong sa isang sospek.
Ikinasa na po ng Department of Agriculture o DA ang implementasyon ng maximum suggested retail price sa mga karneng baboy sa mga palengke sa National Capital Region. Alinsunod po ito o alinsunod nito ay iikot ang mga opisyal ng DA sa mga pamilihan sa Metro Manila para tiyakin ang pagsunod ng mga ito sa itinakdang MSRP. Kasama sa mga nag-iinspeksyon ang Department of Trade and Industry, mga lokal na pamahalaan at ang Philippine National Police. Inaprubahan ni Agriculture Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel Jr. ang MSRP na 350 pesos kada kilo para sa pork shoulder, 380 pesos kada kilo para sa pork belly at 300 pesos kada kilo para sa sabit ulo. Sa ngayon, ang MSRP ay ipatutupad lamang sa Metro Manila, subalit ipinag-utos ni Laurel ang pagsusuri sa presyo sa iba't ibang rehiyon upang matukoy kung kinakailangan din ang MSRP sa labas ng Kalakhang, Maynila. Una nang sinabi ng ahensya na bago ipinatupad ang MSRP ay dumaan ito sa masusing konsultasyon sa mga stakeholders.
Bukas sa mga job seekers ang humigit kumulang 3,000 bakanteng trabaho na iniaalok para sa Philippines-Hungary Friendship Week Job Fair. Ayon sa Department of Migrant Workers o DMW, kabilang sa alok na trabaho ang machine operators, welders, pipe fitters, hotel and restaurant workers at factory workers. Ang sahod ay pumapatak mula 700 euros hanggang 1,000 euros. Gaganapin ang job fair sa March 11 sa Mandaluyong City mula alas 10 ng umaga hanggang alas 4 ng hapon. Ang job fair na ito ay bahagi ng pinahusay na international cooperation sa pagitan ng Pilipinas at ng Hungary.
44 na mga Filipino mula Israel ang nakabalik na po sa Pilipinas mula sa patuloy na repatriation at pagbibigay ng tulong sa mga distressed migrant workers doon, bunsod ng tumataas na tensyon sa Middle East. Kasama sa mga bumalik ang bansa ang 35 babaeng overseas Filipino workers, 6 na lalaki at 2 dependents. Kinumpirma ng Department of Migrant Workers na dumating ang mga naturang Filipino deportees noong Biyernes ng hapon sa Ninoy Aquino International Airport. Sinalubong ang mga repatriates ng mga opisyal at kinatawan mula sa DMW at Overseas Workers Welfare Administration.
Good news sa mga motorista dahil sa asalubong ang big-time rollback sa presyo ng produktong petrolyo bukas, March 11. Batay sa advisory ng oil industry firms, ibababa nila ng 1.70 ang presyo sa kada litro ng gasolina. 90 sentimos naman ang bawas sa kada litro ng diesel at 1.80 naman ang rollback sa kerosene o gas.
Hindi sinang-ayunan ng Pilipinas sa mga panibagong pahayag ni Chinese Foreign Ministry or Minister Wang Yi ukol sa mga developments at insidente sa South China Sea. Kamakailan ay inilarawan ni Wang na ang mga aksyon ng Pilipinas sa South China Sea o West Philippine Sea ay isang shadow play daw ng isang screenplay na isinulat ng external forces. Subalit, kinontra ng Department of Foreign Affairs o DFA ang mga sinabi ni Wang at ipinaliwanag nito na walang creative analogy o wordplay ang magtatakip sa tunay na issue na ang China ay tumatangging sumunod sa international law, partikular na anila sa 1982 UNCLOS at ang 2016 Arbitral Award. Giit ng DFA, hindi may tatago ng China na ang pagwawalang bahala nito sa batas, kagaya ng mga iligal, agresibo at mapanlinlang nitong pag-uugali sa karagatan ay nakakaapekto sa mga Filipino communities.
Ayon kay Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Clara Castro, nais ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. na paimbestigahan ang umano'y insidente ng tanimbala sa NAIA Terminal 3. Sinabi naman ng New NAIA Infra Corporation na nakikipag-ugnayan na ito sa Office for Transportation Security o OTS para sa reinforcement ng security monitoring sa NAIA kasunod ng panibagong insidente ng tanimbala.
Yes, hindi po maganda kung ito po ay mauulit. So dapat po ang lahat ng, lalo-lalo na po, kung mga turista po, mga kapwa Pilipino natin, ang magiging biktima ng ganito, hindi po ito papayagan ng Pangulo. So may kailangan po managot. Kung mayroon dapat managot after thorough investigation.
Kaugnay nito ay tinanggal na sa pwesto ang 3 tauhan ng OTS na sangkot sa nasabing insidente. Tiniyak ng Department of Transportation na mahaharap sa mga kasong administratibo ang mga nasibak na security personnel pagkatapos ng investigasyon. Nangako rin ang bagong OTS administrator na si Arthur Bisnar na hindi nila kukonsintihin at palalampasin ang mga nasabing pang-aabuso ng mga tauhan nito sa mga pasahero.
Hindi po kailangan bastusin o iharas ang ating mga pasahero para po siguruhin ang security ng ating airport. Marami po paraan para may patupad o huwag ikompromiso ang security ng ating airport. At hindi po kasama dyan yung pagmapastos at pangharas ng ating mga pasahero.
Susunod, North Korea nagpalipad ng ballistic missile sa bisperas ng Freedom Shield drills.
Canada nakapili na ng panibagong Prime Minister.
At Estados Unidos lalo pang pinupursigi na wakasan ang away ng Israel at Hamas. Mga balitang yan sa pagbabalik ng Mata ng Agila International.
financial straits.
Mata ng Agila Weekend tuwing Sabado, alas 4 ng hapon. Ito ang NET25. Matatag, matapag, matapak.
Let's net together sa NET25. Sa NET25.
Matatapang na mga komentaryo.
Tingin ng masa dito, this is just actually a ploy to weed out a person who potentially can actually win in 2028.
Mga balita at impormasyong hihimayin. Kasama ang mga batikang komentarista. Sina Ali Soto,
Hindi pa ako nakakapag-umpisa kong. Dahil aminado naman kayo, kalabisan din yung ginagawa ng ibang kasama nyo dyan.
at Pat P. Daza.
Desperado na siya. There's no way na makakapasok yung kanyang slate unless patayin itong 15.
Sa ASPN, ano sa palagay nyo? Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 8 hanggang alas 10 ng umaga, dito sa NET25.
Together sa NET25.
Nagpalipad ang North Korea ng iilang unidentified ballistic missiles papunta sa west coast ng Korean Peninsula. Ginawa ito bilang salubong o upang salubungin ang bisperas ng annual joint military drills sa pagitan ng South Korea at Estados Unidos na tinaguri ang Freedom Shield drills. Sa ilang okasyon na rin ay mariing kinundena ito ng Pyongyang kung saan binansagan nilang isang dangerous provocative act ang naturang military exercise para sa kanilang bansa. Inakusahan naman ni North Korean Deputy Director for Public Affairs Kim Yo-jong ang administrasyon ni US President Donald Trump ng panghahamon sa kakayanan ng sangay militar ng North Korea ang anyang annual exercise. Dagdag pa nito ay sinabi ni Kim na ang mismong umuusbong na pambubuli ng Estados Unidos at Seoul ang pangunahing dahilan nila para lalo pang paigtingin ang kanilang nuclear arsenal na magsisilbing pantapat sa kanilang mga karibal sa rehiyon. Ang joint drills na tatagal hanggang March 20 ay naglalayong palakasin ang kahandaan ng alyansa ng Estados Unidos sa banta ng North Korean military. Makakatuwang ng South Korea at Estados Unidos ang United Nations Command Member States kagaya ng Australia, Belgium, Canada, Colombia, France, Great Britain, Greece, Italy, New Zealand, Thailand at ang Pilipinas. Oobserbahan naman ito ng iba pang neutral nations.
Ipinakita po sa publiko ng North Korea sa unang pagkakataon ang ginagawa nilang nuclear-powered submarine. Personal na binisita ni North Korean President Kim Jong-un ang lugar kung saan ginagawa ang nasabing submarine. Ang nasabing submarine ay isang maituturing na banta sa US at South Korea. Sinasabing isang 7,000 toneladang uri ng submarine ang ginagawa na may kakayahang magdala ng hanggang 10 missiles. Ang nasabing nuclear-powered submarine ay isa sa mga pangunahing pangarap ni Kim na nais niyang magawa ng bansa noon pang taong 2021.
Noong Miyerkules sa London, daan-daang demonstrador ang nagprotesta laban sa embahada ng Estados Unidos. Alamin natin ang balita mula kay Bernhard Gonzaga.
Ilang araw matapos suspendihin ng Estados Unidos ang tulong militar nito sa Ukraine, daan-daang demonstrador ang nagrally sa harap ng embahada ng US sa London. Winagayway ng mga demonstrador ang mga bandera ng Ukraine, bit-bit din ang karatula na nagsasabing pigilin si Trump at walang deal kung wala ang Ukraine.
Absolutely disgusting. Honestly, I have never been so outraged about one person's actions before. I mean, I wasn't a fan to start off with, but now, good God, amazing.
I think we need to show the American embassy and President Trump and the American people that our support for Ukraine is solid. And personally, I believe in the sovereignty of Ukraine, that they should have back all of their territory as recognized by international agreements and not cede anything under any kind of agreement with Trump. in exchange for a mineral deal.
His statement, what he wants to do, and he already did. Yeah, like yesterday, he stopped all military help to Ukraine, and even not just military, just like medical help, anything that really like is needed for us. It's something insane, but it's like not. This is the most insanest part. The most insanest part that he probably like blame Ukraine in war, which is like totally nuts. It's just madness.
Noong Miyerkules din, inanunsyo ni CIA Director John Ratcliffe na pinutol din ng US ang intelligence sharing nito sa KYIV bilang pinakabagong hakbang ni Pangulong Donald Trump na sinasabing tila pabor sa Russia. Ang desisyong putulin lahat ng tulong sa Ukraine ay matapos ang isang mainit na sagutan ni na Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Trump, at US Vice President J.D. Vance. Inakusahan ng dalawa si Zelensky na kulang ang pagpapasalamat sa US. Ang pagtigil ng military aid ng US sa Ukraine ay hamon sa European allies ng KYIV na hindi naman nag-atubiling saluhin si Zelensky matapos ang insidente sa Oval Office. Nag-alok ang Britain at France ng mga sundalong tutulong bantayan ang posibleng ceasefire kapwa bumisita ang Britain at France sa White House noong isang linggo. Bernard Gonzaga para sa Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Patay ang nasa 23 katao matapos ang ginawang airstrike ng Russia sa Ukraine. Sinabi ni Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky na sa lungsod lamang ng Dopropililia ay mayroon ng 11 katao ang namatay at mahigit sa 50 ang nasugatan. Inaalam pa nila kung magkano ang naging kabuuang danyos sa dami ng mga gusaling nasira. Nangyari ang insidente nang ipinatigil ng US ang military aid at intelligence sharing sa Ukraine para pumayag ang Ukraine na makipagkasundo na sa Russia.
Nanalo si Mark Carney para pamunuan ang Liberal Party ng Canada at papalit kay Justin Trudeau bilang punong ministro ayon sa opisyal na resulta noong linggo.
In first place, the next Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, with 131,674 votes, resulting in 29,457 allocated points, representing 85.9% of the vote.
My government will put into action our plan to build a stronger economy, to create new trading relationships with reliable trading partners, and to secure our borders.
Nakuha ni Carney, isang dating central banker, ang 86% ng boto. Tinalo niya si dating Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland kung saan bumoto ang halos 152,000 na miyembro ng partido. Sa kanyang talumpati, binatikos niya si US President Donald Trump na anya'y nagpapahina sa ekonomiya ng Canada sa pamamagitan ng mga taripa at bantang pangkalakalan. Nangako siyang pananatilihin ang mga retaliatory tariffs laban sa Estados Unidos hanggang ipakita nito ang respeto para sa Canada. Dumaranas ng malaking hamon ng bansa kabilang ang isang paparating na pambansang halala na trade war sa Amerika.
There's someone who's trying to do the opposite. There's someone who's trying to weaken our economy. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, as we know, has put, as the Prime Minister just said, unjustified tariffs on what we build, on what we sell, on how we make a living. He's attacking Canadian families, workers, and businesses, and we cannot let him succeed. And we won't. We won't.
Nagpatupad si Trudeau ng retaliatory tariffs laban sa Estados Unidos bilang tugon sa mga taripang ipinatawa ni Trump sa Canada. Inanunsyo ni Justin Trudeau noong Enero ang kanyang pagbaba sa pwesto matapos ang mahigit 9 na taon bilang punong ministro, kasunod ng matinding pagbagsak ng kanyang approval rating.
And now, as Canadians face from our neighbor an existential challenge, an economic crisis, Canadians are showing exactly what we are made of. And make no mistake, this is a nation-defining moment. Democracy is not a given. Freedom is not a given. Even Canada is not a given. None of those happen by accident. None of them will continue without effort. It takes courage. It takes sacrifice. It takes hope and hard work. As your leader, as your Prime Minister, I have done my level best each and every single day to help build a country that stays worthy of all Canadians. I've done it for Xavier, for Ella Grace and Hadrian. And I've done it for your kids too. And I've done it with you. And although you'll always find me alongside you, cheering along, their future and your future is now in your hands.
Bagamat walang karanasang pampolitika ay pinagmamalaki ni Carney ang kanyang background bilang dating gobernador ng Central Bank ng Canada at England. Si Mark Carney ang unang punong ministro ng Canada na walang karanasan sa politika.
I know that these are dark days. Dark days brought on by a country we can no longer trust. We are getting over the shock. But let us never forget the lessons. We have to look after ourselves. And we have to look out for each other. We need to pull together. When we come together, we build things that last because we are Canada strong. Vive la Canada! Merci.
Dahil dito, sinasabing kaya niyang buhayin muli ang Liberal Party na ngayon ay halos tabla na sa oposisyon sa mga survey matapos bumagsak ang popularidad ni Trudeau. Ang kanyang tagumpay ay nagbigay ng bagong sigla sa Liberal Party lalo na sa gitna ng mga taripa at pang-asar ni Trump na dapat maging ika-51 state daw ng US ang Canada.
So Donald Trump thinks he can weaken us with his plan to divide and conquer. Pierre Poilievre's plan will leave us divided and ready to be conquered. Because a person who worships at the altar of Donald Trump will kneel before him, not stand up to him. America is not Canada. And Canada never, ever will be part of America in any way, shape, or form. We didn't ask for this fight. We didn't ask for this fight. But Canadians are always ready when someone else drops the gloves. So the Americans, they should make no mistake, in trade as in hockey, Canada will win.
Samantala, nakararamdam na ng walang katiyakan ang daan-daang Ukrainians na may temporary legal status sa Estados Unidos. Ito po ay matapos sabihin ni Pangulong Donald Trump na dedesisyonan niya kung babawiin ang mga visa nito o hindi. Kathleen Gao po para sa report.
Ang balita ukol sa balak ni Pangulong Donald Trump na potensyal na status change para sa Ukrainians sa US ay ikinatakot ng mga ito. Ibinahagi ni Director of Communications for the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America, Andrzej Dobryansky, ang pakiramdam ng komunidad ng Ukrainians sa bansa.
People were scared as of the beginning of 2025 after the inauguration when initial reports were being given to various community leaders, various immigration and Office of New Americans in different states. They were being told directly by older holdover administration officials that it would be happening that at some point this year, various statuses would be revoked for different minorities, including Ukrainians. That was tamped down after that was denied by the administration. That was back in January, February. At this point, we aren't getting an official statement of denial that that's going forward by the administration, but we are getting people ready to understand what their rights are.
Ani ni Dobriansky, naghahanda na rin ang mga ito sa maaaring desisyon ni Trump.
Many of these people do not have homes to return to. We're talking about people whose entire towns have been leveled altogether. Where would be sending them back? To nothing. We're preparing our community by making sure that leaflets for Know Your Immigrant Rights are translated into proper languages for them. That could be Ukrainian, that also could be Russian language, Crimean, Tatar, and other languages. We want to let them know what other, not only their rights if they're approached by immigration officials, we want to let them know what their other possibilities are for attaining temporary residency in this country, the pathway to full citizenship at some point, if that's possible for them. Just let them know, because the biggest thing that causes fear and panic is a not knowing.
Ang planong pagbawi ng proteksyon para sa Ukrainians ay bahagi ng mas malawak na aksyon ng Administrasyong Trump na alisin ang legal status ng may higit sa 1.8 million migrants na pinayagang makapasok sa US sa ilalim ng temporary humanitarian parole programs. Ang mga programang ito ay inilunsad sa ilalim ng administrasyon ni dating Pangulong Joe Biden. Noong 20 ng Enero, nag-issue si Trump ng isang executive order na nag-uutos na tapusin lahat ng categorical parole programs na ito. Kathleen Ga para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Sinabi ng Mexico na hindi nito papatawan ng taripa ang Estados Unidos bilang pagkilala sa United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement o USMCA. Narito ang balita mula kay North America correspondent Jonah Malyari.
Araw matapos bawiin ni Pangulong Donald Trump ang 25% taripa nito sa mga produkto mula sa Mexico, sinabi ni Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum na hindi nito papatawan ng taripa ang mga produktong galing naman sa US. Ani Sheinbaum, ito ay bilang paggalang sa US-Mexico-Canada trade deal. Anya, reciprocity ang tawag dito.
Nosotros no tenemos impuestos a los productos que llegan de Estados Unidos porque tenemos un tratado comercial. Entonces, si nosotros no le ponemos impuestos a lo que llega de Estados Unidos, pues Estados Unidos tampoco le pondrá impuestos a lo que llega de México, porque es la reciprocidad.
Ayon naman kay Mexican Economy Minister Marcelo Ebrard, inaasahan nila na 90% ng mga kumpanya na sakop ng USMCA ay kikilala sa kasunduan.
Estimamos que alrededor de 10-12%, cuando mucho, son los que pueden tener dificultades de cumplir las normas que el tratado tiene. Ya tenemos noticias de algunas, sobre todo industria automotriz, es donde yo pienso que habrá la mayor prevalencia de ese 10-12%. Entonces, vamos a trabajar con esas empresas también, cubiertos de nuestro comercio exterior con los Estados Unidos. Por el tratado, estimamos que vamos a llegar muy cerca del 90%.
Noong Huwebes, sinuspende ni Trump ang 25% tariff sa mga produkto mula sa Canada at Mexico na sinimula noong Martes lamang. Noong Biyernes, sinabi ng Pangulo na nais niyang ipatupad ang suspensyong ito ng 30 araw upang tulungan ang automakers. Ngunit sinabi rin nitong ang palugit ay panandalian lamang at maaaring tumaas ang taripa paglipas ng mga araw. Jonah Malari, Las Vegas, Nevada para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Sinabi po ni United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres na sa kasalukuyan inaatake ng karahasan, diskriminasyon at kahirapan ang mga karapatan ng kababaihan. Isang hamon anya ito na dapat maging lalong aktibo ang mga kababaihan sa pagsusulong ng kanilang mga karapatan. Narito pang report ni NET25 North America correspondent Myla Simbulan.
Nanawagan sa mundo si United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres na huwag tumingin lamang habang umaatras ang progreso ng mga karapatan ng kababaihan. Sa isang event bago ang International Women's Day, sinabi ni Guterres na ang siglo-siglong diskriminasyon laban sa kababaihan ay pinalalala ng panibagong mga banta.
Every 10 minutes, a woman is killed by her partner or a family member. 612 million women and girls live under the shadow of armed conflicts, where their rights are too often considered expendable. Less than 2/3 of women worldwide participate in the labor market, and those who do earn far less than men. At this pace, eradicating extreme poverty for women and girls will take 130 years. And as we see in every corner of the world, from pushback to rollback, women's rights are under attack.
Dagdag pa ni Guterres, dumarami ang karahasan laban sa kababaihan na nagaganap online. Anya, nasasaksihan ng mundo kung paanong nagiging mainstream ang chauvinism o sobenismo at misogyny o pagkamuhi sa kababaihan. Ang kanyang panawagan, labanan ng paghatak, pabalik ng progreso.
Digital tools, while brimming with promise, are also often silencing women's voices, amplifying bias, and fueling harassment. Women's bodies have become political battlegrounds, and online violence is escalating into real-life violence. Instead of mainstreaming equal rights, we are witnessing the mainstreaming of chauvinism and misogyny. We cannot stand by as progress is reversed. We must fight back.
Samantala, sinabi ni Executive Director of UN Women, Sima Bajos, na kailangang isali ang boses ng kababaihan sa gitna ng mga pagdedesisyon.
From governments to boardrooms, from classrooms to households, women's equality is the greatest solution, and we know that. Every study we do, every project we do, every program we do, every effort and partnership we have tells us that women's equality is the greatest solution. Real solutions require that women be at the heart of decision-making. From Afghanistan to the DRC, from Palestine, Gaza, to Haiti, to Myanmar, Sudan, and beyond, women bear the heaviest burdens of conflict, displacement, hardship, and loss. Yet we know that when women are at the table, peace is broader, more inclusive, and more enduring. We know that when women's voices are heard equally, societies thrive. We know that when women lead, economies prosper. We know all this. Now, we must act on it.
Tuwing 8 ng Marso, ipinagdiriwang ng International Women's Day upang kilalanin ang mga tagumpay ng kababaihan, gayon din upang itulak ang progreso ng mga karapatan nito. Sinabi ni Guterres, hindi dapat tanggapin ang isang mundo kung saan namumuhay sa takot ang mga babae, kung saan ang kanilang kaligtasan ay pribilehiyo na dapat sana ay hindi kinokompromisong karapatan. Mana Simbulan, Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, para sa mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Sinusuri ng Estados Unidos ang lahat ng sanctions waivers na nagbibigay sa Iran ng kahit anong economic relief. Alamin natin ang report mula kay Rose Papa Angeles.
Ayon sa tagapagsalita ng US State Department na si Tammy Bruce, nire-review ngayon ng bansa ang lahat ng sanctions waivers na nagbibigay sa Iran ng anumang economic relief. Tinatawagan nito ang Iraqi government na alisin na ang pagsanda sa anumang Iranian sources of energy sa lalong madaling panahon.
As you might imagine, we have nothing to announce with regards to the current electricity waiver that expires on the 8th. In line with National Security Presidential Memorandum Number 2, we are reviewing all existing sanctions waivers that provide Iran any degree of economic or financial relief. And we are urging the Iraqi government to eliminate its dependence on Iranian sources of energy as soon as possible and welcome the Iraqi Prime Minister's commitment to achieve energy independence. Hopefully, the United States is leading the way when it comes to that kind of an approach.
Ani Bruce, tinatanggap ng US ang pagnanais ng Iraqi Prime Minister na makamit ang energy independence. Anya, nangunguna ang US sa ganitong uri ng pananaw. Ang pahayag nito ni Bruce ay sa unang briefing niya sa ilalim ng administrasyon ni Trump. Rose Papa Angeles para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Personal na nakapulong ni U.S. hostage envoy Adam Bowler ang mga Hamas at Israel.
We are having discussions with Hamas. We are helping Israel in those discussions because we're talking about Israeli hostages. And we're not doing anything in terms of Hamas. We're not giving cash. We're not giving $6 billion like you hear other administrations give. In fact, I got 59 hostages out, and we gave nothing. In 59, we gave nothing.
Sinabi nito na nagkakaroon ng magandang resulta ang nasabing pulong kung saan ilan sa mga tinalakay nila ang tuluyang pagpapatupad ng peace talks. Ipinaliwanag din ito sa Hamas na hindi sila ahente ng Israel at ang nirerepresenta niya ang United States na siyang nagsusulong ng ceasefire. Sa ngayon ay nakatuon ang delegasyon ng Estados Unidos na pakawalan ng militanteng grupo ng Hamas ang dual American citizen na si Aidan Alexander. Naniniwala ito na magkakaroon ng bagong kasunduan kung saan lahat ng mga bihag na hawak ng Hamas ay kanilang mapapakawalan na at gaya ng napag-usapan ay aalis din ang mga puwersa ng Israel na nasa Gaza. Magugunitang inakusahan ng Hamas ang Israel na sumisira sa peace deal na napagkasunduan noong Enero.
Well, when it comes to the negotiations that you're referring to, first of all, the special envoy who's engaged in those negotiations does have the authority to talk to anyone. Israel was consulted on this matter. And look, dialogue and talking to people around the world to do what's in the best interest of the American people is something that the president has proven is what he believes is good faith effort to do what's right for the American people.
Susunod, New York nakasailalim sa state of emergency dahil sa kumakalat na wildfires.
Alibaba maglalabas ng karibal ng DeepSeek AI.
At King Charles ibinahagi ang kanyang playlist para sa The King's Music Room. Mga detalye po ng mga balitang yan at iba pa sa pagbabalik ng Mata ng Agila International.
Sunday on Cine Throwback.
This is an incredible battle between these two great drivers.
Days after his near-fatal accident, Niki Lauda will race here today.
This Sunday, 12 noon, here on NET25.
Let's get together, so NET25.
We are now open for business. It is a signal to the world. We are open for business.
Open for Business with Cesar Vallejos. Every Sunday, 9 p.m.
Sa NET25.
Nagbabalik ang Mata ng Agila International at sa pagpapatuloy pa rin ng ating mga balita ngayong gabi. Nagdeklara ng 3 araw na national mourning ang Argentina dahil sa malawakang pagbaha ng bansa na ikinasawi ng 16 na individual. Ayon po sa Buenos Aires, direktang tinamaan ng baha ang syudad ng Bahia Blanca. Kinumpirma ni Bahia Blanca Mayor Federico Sobieles na higit $400 million ang naitala nilang halaga ng danyo sa infrastructure. Pansamantala rin munang pinatay ang mga kuryente sa syudad para hindi makuryente ang mga residente dahil sa mataas na level ng tubig. Nakiramay naman si Argentinian President Javier Milei sa pamilya ng mga nasawing biktima at nangakong tutulungan ang mga ito.
Isang lalaki sa Peru ang nakaligtas mula sa bingit ng kamatayan matapos magulungan ng tren. Ang bihirang kaganapan na ito ay sapol sa CCTV ng Acted District. Makikita sa video ang isang lalaking nakahiga sa gilid ng isang rail tracks nang may dumaan na isang tren. Dito na pumailalim at nagulungan ng tren ang lalaki. Makalipas ang ilang sandali ay huminto ang tren. Mapapansin na unti-unting tumayo ang lalaki mula sa kalunos-lunos na lagay nito. May isang motorista naman ang lumabas sa kanyang kotse para tulungan ang lalaki. Buti na lamang, mabagal ang pagpapatakbo ng tren at hindi napuruhan ang biktima. Isinugod sa paggamutan ng lalaki para sa medical evaluation. Nagtamo naman ang bali sa mga daliri ang nasabing lalaki. Batay sa investigasyon ng pulisya, nakainom ang lalaki at pinaniniwala ang nakatulog na lamang ito malapit sa riles ng tren.
Dalawang individual po ang nasa critical na lagay habang 6 na iba pa ang nagtamon ng minor injuries sa pang-aararo ng kotse sa isang car dealership store sa California. Ayon sa lokal na ulat, nagsimulang insidente dahil sa pagtatalo ng isang customer at ng clerk. Pinaniniwala ang hindi nagustuhan ng customer ang offer sa kanya ng dealership. Sinubukan ng mga tumakas ng suspect gamit ang kanyang kotse, pero kinalaunan ay naaresto din ito ng mga pulis.
Kasalukuyang nagpapagaling ang 5 pasahero na isang bumagsak ng private plane sa harap ng isang retirement home sa Pennsylvania. Ayon sa salaysay ng mga nakasaksi sa insidente, nag-nosedive ang naturang aircraft sa parking lot at matapos ng ilang sandali ay nagliyab ito. Ibinalita naman ng mga lokal na media roon na maraming mga nakaparadang mga sasakyan sa lote ang napinsala at nasunog din gawa ng pagkalat ng apoy. Naganap ang trahedya mag-alas 3 ng hapon malapit sa Brethren Village sa Manheim Township sa siyudad ng Philadelphia.
Nagdeklara si New York Governor Kathy Hochul ng state of emergency sa buong estado dahil sa patuloy na pagkalat ng 4 na wildfires sa Long Island. Inilikas na ng mga otoridad ang mga residente sa lugar, partikular na yaong mga malalapit sa wildfires. Nabalot na rin ng makakapal na itim na usok ang papawirin sa West Hampton.
Muling nagpadala ng communication test satellite sa kalawakan ng China ngayong Lunes. Ayon sa China Manned Space Agency, dinala ang satellite patungo sa space gamit ang Long March 3B rocket mula sa Xichang Satellite Launch Center. Ito na ang pang-50 o 562nd mission ng Long March Carrier Rocket Series. Layo ng satellite ng China na magkaloob ng multiband at high-speed communication technology validation mula sa space.
Ilang buwan matapos gulatin ng DeepSeek ang tech world ay binabalak naman ng Alibaba na sundan ito sa pamamagitan ng kanilang bagong artificial intelligence or AI. Inilunsad ng Alibaba ang QWQ32B model na kung tawagin ng cloud giant ay isang compact reasoning model. Giit ng Alibaba, kaya ng kanilang AI model na maghatid ng 32 billion parameters kumpara sa ibang mga models. Anila gumagamit sila ng reinforced learning para sa advanced mathematical reasoning at coding proficiency ng QWQ32B. Katulad po ng DeepSeek AI, isang open source large language model din ang QWQ32B. Naniniwala naman ang Alibaba na hindi masasayang ang nasimulan nila sa Qwen dahil at kahit na may bago na silang AI system.
Naibenta na hanggang $20 million ang jersey na isinuot ni na NBA legend Michael Jordan at Kobe Bryant sa kanilang unang mga laro. Ayon sa Sotheby's auction, inaasahan nilang mabibili ang nasabing mga jersey ng tig $10 million bawat isa. Dagdag pa ng auction house, hindi lamang ito mga pawang memorabilia at sa halip ay simbolo ng ambisyon galing na nagpakilala sa kanilang karera. Ang jersey ni Jordan na ito ay kanyang pirmado mula sa 1980 ay isang unicorn na madalang makita sa mga pamilihan. Isinuot ito ni Jordan sa unang laro niya sa Chicago Bulls noong October 5, 1984 sa Peoria, Illinois. Makikita sa apelyido at numero ni Jordan ng 23, ang itim naman siya na mula sa pangalan at numero ng dating manlalaro na may suot ng nasabing jersey. Habang jersey ni Bryant sa Los Angeles Lakers ay kanyang isinuot sa unang laro niya noong October 1996 preseason debut. Magsisimula ang auction sa darating na March 21 sa New York. Ang pinakamahal na jersey ni Jordan na naibenta ay ang suot niya noong 1998 NBA Finals na nabili sa halagang $10.1 million noong September taong 2022. Habang ang Bryant jersey noong 2007-2008 most valuable season ay naibenta sa halagang $5.8 million.
Nagtala naman ng panibagong record sa NBA si Golden State Warriors star Stephen Curry. Tinanghal siya na pang-26 na manlalaro na nakapagtala ng 25,000 points. Nakuha nito ang record sa panalo nila kontra sa Detroit Pistons. Malapit na nitong mahabol si Los Angeles Lakers legend Jerry West na mayroon namang 25,192 points. Si Curry din ngayon ang isa sa mga 5 manlalaro nga aktibo na may hawak ng nasabing record. Labis naman ang pasasalamat ni Curry dahil sa magandang performance ng kanyang koponan at handa nitong mahigitan pa ang nasabing record.
Nabigo si Serbian tennis star Novak Djokovic sa ikalawang round ng Indian Wells Tennis Tournament sa California. Hindi ito nakaporma kay Botic Van de Zandschulp sa score na 6-2, 3-6, 6-1. Ito nang magkakasunod na taon na maagang umuwi ang Serbian tennis star mula sa kamay ng isang lower-ranked competitor. Noong nakaraang taon kasi ay nabigo siya kay Luca Nardi ng Italy sa California Desert. Kasama niya sa court ang coach nito na dating tennis star na si Andy Murray. Sinabi ni Noel na wala siyang sinisisi sa pagkatalo dahil mahina ang kanyang naging performance.
Sa ilang linggong natitira sa NBA season, ngayong taon, nagharap sa unang pagkakataon ang Los Angeles Clippers at ang New York Knicks. Mula sa Inglewood, California, narito po ang report ni Eva and Alan Basalyahe.
The Los Angeles Clippers host the New York Knicks for the visiting team's first game at the Intuit Dome.
But on the court, LA pulled the welcome mat up from under their opponent, downing the Knicks and adding to New York's loss streak.
Clippers starters Harden, Leonard, Batum, and Zubac delivered double-digit performances. Harden led the way with 27 points, with Zubac adding his offensive presence in the paint. But throughout the first 3 quarters of play, the Clippers and Knicks kept the contest close, with neither team establishing any significant momentum over the other until the fourth quarter when LA poured on the pressure, grabbing the 105-95 win over New York. Post-game, Coach Lue talked about the mindset his team needs to have in the face of players out due to injuries.
I know we had a lot of guys in and out, injuries, rotations have been different, but just getting better every day. Just try to understand what we're good at, what we need to improve on both sides of the basketball, and continue to grow. Being short-handed, not have a lot of days of practice. Our guys have really been locked in and walkthroughs and shoot-arounds and trying to get better as much as we can. So we just got to take it game by game, and hopefully, we'll start getting, more and more bodies back.
While New York's inaugural visit at the Intuit Dome didn't go their way, spectators, many who were Knicks fans, still marveled at the league's newest arena.
It's a lot better than where the Lakers play, where they used to play. It's a lot better. They should check it out, but instead of that, go to New York, check out the Garden. You'll see a real game.
The lights show was cool. They had some fireworks, and there's all of these cameras. We got 4 camera
angles that was pretty cool, but it's so big. It seemed like it's so big, and I like the interactive stuff when we was playing the game.
There's so much to do. There are basketball hoops outside that people are playing on the inside. Everything is all brand new. Literally, we could just walk right in because of the technology that they have here and get seated. You could go through the concession, so it's really quick.
The Knicks and Clippers will meet one more time in a regular season that ends next month.
In the highly contested Western Conference, the Clippers need to make every game count in order to secure another playoff berth. Reporting from the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California, Ivan Allen for Matanang Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Isang pribadong koleksyon na mahigit 500 vintage movie posters ang isusubasta po sa London. Alamin nga natin ang mga detalye mo ng balita yan mula kay Jadel Alipio.
Up for sale ang mahigit 500 classic movie posters na kabilang sa 50-year collection ni Dwight Cleveland. Pinakamahal sa mga ito ay ang King Kong poster na tinatayang nasa $40,000 hanggang $80,000 kapag naibenta. Kasama rin sa isusubasta ang poster ng classic film ni Audrey Hepburn na Breakfast at Tiffany's na ayon sa Heritage Auctions ay may price estimate na $4,000 hanggang $8,000. Ilan din nila sa mga kinolektang movie posters ni Cleveland ay isinabit pa sa US Library Congress, sa Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences at sa ilang US museums. Nagbigay din si Cleveland ng kontribusyon sa ilang US universities sa Wyoming, Texas, Illinois at New Hampshire.
Okay, so this is Dwight Cleveland's poster collection. Dwight is a collector from Chicago, Illinois, in America, and he's been collecting for about 50 years. And his lens of movie making is through the medium of posters. The most money, King Kong could be one of them. This is an original release from 1933. It's a Czechoslovakian poster, but what's interesting, it's the American art. So it's very, very desirable because it's the same image as the American one sheet. So a poster like that could bring 50 or 60,000 pounds.
Nang tanungin si Joe Madalena, Executive Vice President of Heritage Auctions, kung naaapektuhan ba ng kasalukuyang cost of living ang sales ng cinematic memorabilia, sinabi niya na nakitaan nila ng pagtaas ang sales ng pagbebenta ng mga movie items nitong nakalipas na 2 taon.
Actually, we've seen an increase. So like our companies had the best, 2 years. We're the 3rd largest auction house in the world, and we've had the best 2 years. We're expanding. We just opened up in Tokyo. Collectibles are surging. So unlike the art market, which is kind of suffering, collectibles are booming. They're very nostalgic. People like comfort, they like nostalgic, and even in times of uncertainty, they gravitate toward things that bring them happiness.
Jadel Alipio from London, United Kingdom para sa Matanang Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Ibinahagi ni King Charles ang kanyang diverse musical taste sa bagong Apple Music show na The King's Music Room na inilunsad bilang bahagi ng pagdiriwang ng Commonwealth Day. Si Jethro Ramirez para sa detalye.
Ginawa sa kanyang opisina sa Buckingham Palace ang naturang programa para itampok ang mga kantang nagbigay hugis sa kanyang buhay mula sa disco, reggae hanggang Afrobeats. Ilan sa mga artist sa kanyang playlist ay sina Bob Marley, Kylie Minogue, Grace Jones, Davido at Ray. Ipinahayag din ni King Charles kung paano bumabalik sa kanya ang mga malalalim na alaala at emosyon mula sa musika, na kanyang tinawag na isang mapagkukunan ng ginhawa at kasiyahan. Ayon sa Apple, mahilig din si King Charles sa mga singers mula 1930s. Samantala, sinabi ni Erilyn Wallen, the King's Master of Music, na sumasalamin ng playlist sa mayamang pamana ng musika sa Commonwealth. Hindi ito ang unang pagkakataon na may royalty na nakipag-collaborate sa Apple. Si Prince Harry sa Apple TV Plus para sa isang docu-series tungkol sa mental health, habang lumabas naman si Prince William sa Time to Walk ng Apple Fitness Plus. May kanya-kanyang taste rin sa music ang royal family. Isa na rito ang Yumaong Reyna, kung saan mahilig siya sa classic show tunes, tulad ng Oklahoma at Anything You Can Do. Mahilig naman si Prince William sa dance music, Coldplay at Linkin Park. Dumalo rin siya sa isang Taylor Swift concert kasama sina Prince George at Princess Charlotte noong 2024. Mapapakinggan ng The King's Music Room sa Apple Music sa March 10, alas 6 ng umaga, available on demand para sa mga subscriber. Jethro Ramirez reporting for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Sa isang exhibition na ginanap sa Hong Kong, naghahanda na ang 5 milyong locals and tourists para sa 10-destination global tour na sisimulan na sa Shanghai. Itinatampok ng family-friendly 100 Raymond Friends Tour ang 135 large-scale models of the famous robot cat na likha ng pumanaw na Japanese manga master na si Fujiko F. Fujio. Ang Doraemon exhibit ay huling ginanap noong July at August sa Avenue of Stars sa Shimshatsui. Sinabi naman ni Lam Shukama, ang founder ng design studio, this shows that Hong Kong is an influential window to the world. Si Lam ang pasimuno ng mga high-profile exhibitions sa Hong Kong, kabilang na ang floating of inflatable rubber ducks in Victoria Harbor sa 2013 at 2023 at iba pa. Ang isang parehong showcase ay kay American artist Kaus, kung saan itinampok nito ang kanyang original na character na si Companion noong 2019 kasama ang ilang display of giant pandas. Kinumpirma ni Lam na magkakaroon ng special arrangements para sa exhibition ng Shanghai's iconic Oriental Pearl Tower. Dagdag pa ni Lam, samut-saring local cultural detailed Doraemons ang makikitang nakadisplay sa exhibit. Kabilang na po rito ang nakabihis na traditional Chinese outfit o kaya ay yung may hawak na xiaolongbao, isang Shanghai delicacy. Matapos ang show sa Shanghai ay itutuloy na ito sa 9 na iba't ibang lokasyon kasama na ang Tokyo and Taipei. At narito po kami para maghatid ng balita saan mang dako ng mundo. Happy Monday everybody! Ako po muli si Ricky Matay.
Ako si Nina Richie Alago Flores. Happy Monday po sa inyong lahat. Ito ang Mata ng Agila International. Para naman po sa iba pang mga balitang nangyari rin sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, punta tayo kay Alma Angeles para sa Mata ng Agila World News. Take it away, Alma.
Thank you, Nina and Ricky. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alma Angeles for NET25 World News. On tonight's headlines, Mike Carney has been named as the new Prime Minister-elect of Canada, and he is to replace the current Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau.
America is not Canada. And Canada never, ever will be part of America in any way, shape, or form.
I'm reporting Australia, where homes have sustained significant damage and power cuts following the passage of ex-tropical cyclone Alfred.
And the news starts now. And we're going to Australia now, where ex-tropical cyclone Alfred has left a trail of destruction. Our NET25 correspondent, Emmy Capilita Roja, brings us the latest updates on the storm's impact. Emmy.
Good evening. I'm reporting Australia, where homes have sustained significant damage and power cuts following the passage of ex-tropical cyclone Alfred. The storm brought strong winds and heavy rains, leaving thousands without electricity and prompting severe flood warnings. The situation remains critical, with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese urging residents to stay vigilant.
That the situation in Queensland and northern New South Wales remains very serious due to flash flooding and heavy winds. Heavy rainfall, damaging wind gusts and coastal surf impacts are expected to continue over coming days.
Locals are dealing with the aftermath, with many homes affected by fallen trees and power lines. Brett Whitmore, a homeowner, shared his experience.
Yeah, she fell right on top of the power line. It's just touching it. Really hoping that the tree stays where it is and doesn't fall any further. We were sleeping in the hallway to try and stay out of, any danger. And yeah, it wasn't the most comfortable night's sleep, but yeah, we're just glad to be able to still be here, and yeah, and we weren't hurt, so yeah, it's all good.
The impact extends beyond residential areas. Sarah Mill, manager of a local caravan park, described the damage.
So we actually manage the caravan park across the road here, and we've just realised that we've got two big trees have come down and pulled fencing up and things, so we'll spend most of the day assessing that and trying to clean that up.
Residents who have experienced similar storms before were prepared but still face challenges. Keith A. Thorpe shared his thoughts.
We were pretty prepared for that, actually. We've been through many of these storm type events before. Once we realised that the low pressure system had basically stalled, we knew that the worst of the weather could easily be ahead of us, and that was the case, unfortunately.
In New South Wales, Premier Chris Minns emphasised that the situation remains fluid.
I want to make it clear that we're not out of the woods yet. We're watching very closely the river systems in the northern rivers. There's still a lot of rain out there. There's still a lot of full rivers, swollen rivers, although there are obviously some encouraging signs, and the latest information out of the Wilson is obviously encouraging. It's also important to note that the hazardous weather watch in many coastal communities has been lifted as a result of the cyclone moving through.
The region continues to face challenges as it recovers from the impact of ex-tropical cyclone Alfred. We will keep you updated as the situation develops. Reporting from Brisbane, Australia, this is Emmy Capilita-Roja for NET25 World News.
Mike Carney has been named as the new Prime Minister-elect of Canada, and he is to replace the current Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. Take a look.
Mark Carney will succeed Justin Trudeau as Canada's next Prime Minister. Official results on Sunday showed the former central banker won the race to become leader of the country's ruling Liberal Party. Carney will take over at a tumultuous time in Canada. A general election lies in the near future, and the country is in the midst of a trade war with longtime ally the United States under President Donald Trump, whom Carney name-checked after being announced as the party's leader.
There's someone who's trying to weaken our economy. Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, as we know, has put, as the Prime Minister just said, unjustified tariffs on what we build, on what we sell, on how we make a living. He's attacking Canadian families, workers, and businesses, and we cannot let him succeed.
Carney also said that Canada's retaliatory tariffs would remain in effect, quote, until the Americans show us respect, and he seemed to respond to Trump's repeated taunts to annex Canada as a 51st U.S. state.
America is not Canada, and Canada never, ever will be part of America in any way, shape, or form.
The 59-year-old took 86% of votes in a contest in which just under 152,000 party members voted. When Carney is sworn in later this week, it will be the first time an outsider with no real political background becomes Canada's prime minister. He'll do so as Trump is threatening additional tariffs on Canada that could cripple its export-dependent economy. Carney argued in the run-up to Sunday's vote that he was best placed not only to revive his party, but also to oversee trade negotiations with Trump, since he was the first person to serve as the governor of two G7 central banks, Canada and England. Two Liberal Party sources said Carney would call an election in coming weeks, meaning one could take place much sooner than October. The party's fortunes have seen a revival between the threat of Trump's tariffs and the prospect of a fresh start after the exit of Trudeau. In several polls at the start of 2025, the party trailed by 20 or more points with the official opposition Conservatives, led by career politician Pierre Poilievre, but now they are statistically tied.
As tensions between Ukraine and Russia continue to escalate, U.S. President Donald Trump has expressed optimism about upcoming talks in Saudi Arabia aimed at ending the conflict.
Have you made a final decision about what sanctions or tariffs you might impose on Russia and when that might be?
We're looking at a lot of things. We have big meetings coming up, as you know, in Saudi Arabia. That's going to include Russia. It'll be Ukraine. We'll see if we can get something done. I'd like to get something done. A lot of people died this week, as you know, in Ukraine. Not only Ukrainians, but Russians. So I think everybody wants to see it get done. We're going to make a lot of progress, I believe, this week. Let's see what happens with the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. I think you're going to have eventually, and maybe not in the distant future, you're going to have some pretty good results coming out of Saudi Arabia this week. Well, I think they will sign the minerals deal, but we want them to, I want them to want peace. Right now,
how do they show that? How do they show they want peace?
Well, right now they haven't shown it to the extent that they should. I think right now they haven't, but I think they will be, and I think it's going to become evident over the next 2 or 3 days.
Have you made a final decision about what sanctions or tariffs you might impose on Russia and when that might be?
We're looking at a lot of things. We have big meetings coming up, as you know, in Saudi Arabia. That's going to include Russia. It'll be Ukraine. We'll see if we can get something done. I'd like to get something done. A lot of people died this week, as you know, in Ukraine. Not only Ukrainians, but Russians. So I think everybody wants to see it get done. We're going to make a lot of progress, I believe, this week. And let's see what happens with the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. I think you're going to have eventually, and maybe not in the distant future, you're going to have some pretty good results coming out of Saudi Arabia this week.
Are you going to?
Well, I think they will sign the minerals deal, but we want them to, I want them to want peace. Right
how do
now,
they show that? How do they show they want peace?
Well, right now they haven't shown it to the extent that they should. I think right now they haven't, but I think they will be. And
Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is heading to Saudi Arabia to meet with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And this visit comes ahead of crucial talks between Ukrainian and U.S. officials aimed at ending the ongoing conflict with Russia. Now, the situation is particularly tense given the recent shift in U.S. wartime strategies and the pressure from President Donald Trump to expedite a peace process. Zelensky's trip follows a contentious meeting with Trump in the Oval Office, where discussions about a minerals deal fell through. Now, Trump has been pushing for a rapid resolution to the war, but Ukraine is cautious about making concessions without securing vital security guarantees.
Saudi views itself as a middling to great power, and obviously a great power in energy and financial terms, and its motivations are indeed principally commercial. It's going to be a difficult one. Ultimately, the Ukrainians aren't going to let themselves get pushed around by a mediator that they don't entirely trust. But then again, the Russians don't trust any mediators either, for what it's worth.
The upcoming talks in Saudi Arabia will focus on establishing a framework for peace and possibly a ceasefire. However, there are concerns about the terms of any potential agreement. The U.S. seems willing to accept a deal, even if it's not ideal. But for Ukraine, a bad deal is worse than no deal at all.
The Americans, or for the Americans, a bad deal is better than no deal. But for the Ukrainians, a bad deal is worse than no deal. And that is a fundamental tension between the two. So there will need to be some form of impasse break in order to move this forward.
Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin has been critical of Western involvement, drawing historical parallels to Napoleon's invasion of Russia.
Since the times of the French Emperor Napoleon, since Napoleon's invasion to Russia, some people are still eager. There are still people who want to go back to the times of Napoleon, forgetting how it ended.
As the situation unfolds, Ukraine is preparing for various scenarios, bolstering its intelligence and weapons capabilities. Despite the challenges, there's optimism that Ukraine can hold out longer than expected, especially with European support.
The Russians, of course, have been emboldened and encouraged by recent moves from the US. That gives them a morale boost and the ability to stay in the game longer. On the other hand, summer is coming. It does get a little bit easier in those physical conditions, and Ukraine has been stockpiling in the knowledge that this was likely to happen, and can therefore hold out probably longer than many people assume. So, in fact, there is still all to play for, and as has been the case for the last few years now, then this war could actually go either way, and much depends on the political will of the West to step up to the plate in America's relative absence.
Tensions on the Korean peninsula have escalated as North Korea launched multiple ballistic missiles into the sea today, just hours after South Korea and the U.S. began their annual joint military drills. Take a look.
North Korea fired multiple ballistic missiles Monday after the South began joint drills with the U.S. It's the first time the North has launched missiles since Donald Trump returned as U.S. president. It comes after the reclusive country's foreign ministry condemned the joint drills, with state media quoting the ministry, calling them a dangerous, provocative act. Pyongyang state media added that it would worsen the situation on the Korean peninsula. On Monday, South Korea's Air Force Chief Lee Young-soo bowed in apology over what he called an unprecedented accident last week, where two jets mistakenly bombed a village, wounding at least 29 people. According to South Korea's Yonhap news agency, a pilot in one jet was pressed for time and didn't double-check target coordinates, while another dropped bombs without noticing that the coordinates were incorrect. The Defense Ministry was not immediately available for comment. The accidental bombing happened about 25 miles northeast of Seoul, outside a training area near the North Korean border. It also coincided with the annual Freedom Shield exercises jointly held with the United States. The drills are scheduled to run till March 20th, but live fire exercises were suspended after the misfire. Residents have long complained about the disturbances and risks from the exercises.
South Korea's Air Force Chief Lee Young-soo has apologized for a shocking accident last week where two fighter jets mistakenly bombed a village, injuring nearly 30 people.
I bow my head and extend my apology for destroying the peaceful daily lives of the people, injuring them and damaging property due to the unprecedented misfire bomb accident.
Lee described the incident as unprecedented and emphasized that it should never happen again. According to investigators, one pilot was under pressure to meet a deadline and didn't double-check the target coordinates. The second pilot followed suit, unaware that the coordinates were incorrect. This mistake has led to a temporary halt in live fire exercises during the ongoing joint military drills with the U.S. The annual Freedom Shield exercises began on Monday, but the live fire component remains on hold while the investigation continues. The incident has sparked interest or intense scrutiny and public concern in South Korea. China has reaffirmed its commitment to achieving peaceful reunification with Taiwan. But it's clear that Beijing won't hesitate to take strong measures to protect its territorial claims.
On the Taiwan question, China's position has been consistent and clear. We have always adhered to the One China principle and the 1992 consensus, and we are willing to make every effort with the utmost sincerity to strive for peaceful reunification. Meanwhile, China will take all necessary measures to safeguard its national sovereignty and territorial integrity, and resolutely oppose Taiwan's secession and external interference.
Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te insists that only the people of Taiwan can decide their future. Recently, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi emphasized that Taiwan will never be recognized as a separate country, labeling any support for independence as interference in China's internal affairs. China has increased military pressure on Taiwan, conducting extensive war games that keep the option of force on the table. The U.S. remains a key supplier of arms to Taiwan, but China is urging the U.S. to stop these sales and end its military interactions with the island. For Beijing, the Taiwan issue is a core interest and a major point of contention in U.S.-China relations. A couple of weeks ago, U.S. President Donald Trump pitched the idea of a $5 million gold card visa to attract rich immigrants. And he says the proceeds from these visas would help the country pay off its debt. But an immigration consultant who works with high net worth people isn't so sure there will be a lot of takers. Thomas I. Likeness for more.
Trump told reporters these visas will sell like hotcakes. Lots of people will want them. While making his pitch, the president had all the enthusiasm of his real estate developer persona.
We sell 10 million, which is possible. 10 million highly productive people coming in, or people that we're going to make productive. They'll be young, but they're talented, like a talented athlete. That's $50 trillion. That means our debt is totally paid off, and we have $15 trillion above that. And now, I don't know that we're going to sell that many. Maybe we won't sell many at all, but I think we're going to sell a lot, because I think there really is a thirst. No other country can do this, because people don't want to go to other countries. They want to come here.
Eric Major works in what's known as the investment migration industry. He advises governments and private clients on these types of visas. And he doesn't share Trump's view that everyone wants to come to America.
It's a little bit out of whack with the international market for citizenship by investment. There are a number of countries that offer such privileges against an investment, which are much lower and provide, if I'm being honest, other benefits that the U.S. doesn't, such as being part of the European Union. So when you're part of the European Union, a passport from one of the 27 nations allows you to live, work, and study in all 27 member states. So in the hierarchy of our business, Europe always has the highest value in terms of citizenship, because it's really 27 nations.
Major says Trump's $5 million price tag is not competitive, and he adds that he doubts there'll be very many takers at that price. University researcher Estevan Fonseca is from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. He also disagrees with Trump that everyone wants to live in the U.S.
Trump doesn't see the world as it really is. He thinks that the United States is the center of everything, and everybody wants to come to the United States. But the Americans must know that in other countries we have more rights, we have more easier life than in the United States. That's something that that Trump wants the world to think that here is a paradise, and that's not. That's the thing. That I wouldn't pay so much money to be in the United States. I'm from Brazil. It's amazing life, and we doesn't have to work all the time, 24 hours a day, with no rights.
For those who want a passport that gives them greater mobility, Immigration Advisor Major says there are better deals.
If it's about the passport, most of them, when they reflect and they look at the market, they won't go for it. They could get a European passport for a fifth of the cost for a very quick process, certainly in Malta. And so I don't think there'll be that many takers.
When Trump pitched the idea at the end of February, he said the cards would be going on sale in a couple of weeks. That means they should be available sometime this week. So far, there's been no word from the White House whether the scheme will push through. Thomas I. Likeness, NET25 World News.
It's go, go, go for mango growers in southern Mexico, as they are not wasting any time taking advantage of a temporary suspension of tariffs on goods imported to the U.S. from their country. Anna Cui reports.
The United States on Thursday gave Mexico a tariff reprieve following a morning phone call between Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum and U.S. President Donald Trump. Sheinbaum and Trump agreed to suspend the 25% tariffs on products covered under the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA. This effectively eased tensions in the ongoing trade talks. In San Pedro Tapanetepec, a small town in Oaxaca, Mexico, mango farmers hurried to harvest and package their produce. More than eager to fulfill orders that were held because of the White House's tariffs announcement, mango growers like Muchos Mango's packaging company are working double time to meet the demand.
Production has immediately reactivated since the moment we were told the tariffs were paused for another month. We reactivated the harvesting of our own field and the purchase and stockpiling of produce from small farmers. This has had an immediate impact among packaging companies, including this one obviously. We're now working against the clock to catch up with the orders that were not fulfilled these days.
This family-run business exports approximately 200 tons of mangoes just at the beginning of March. Order volumes peak at around 550 tons per week by mid-month. The plant employs approximately 150 workers, majority of whom rely heavily on the export industry for their livelihood.
In this town of 25,000 people, around 80% depend on mango production. So thank God people will recover their work, and there will be enough work now with that the tariffs were called off.
Another thing that scares mango farmers if borders shut down is that too many mangoes would be wasted. That is money down the drain.
Honestly, yes. If the international market closed the borders, the national market doesn't have the capacity to absorb all this mango production. Definitely, prices would collapse the moment exporting companies close in this region.
Meanwhile, President Trump has indicated that reciprocal tariffs could be implemented starting April 2. This to balance duty rates among the three nations. Mango growers, like other business owners in Mexico, share the same fear. What happens if the tariff suspension is once again lifted?
We've been talking to other packaging companies, and the reality is there is uncertainty again on what will happen after April 1st or in the last days of March to see how we react. Meanwhile, the goal is to capitalize on these tariff-free days to keep working.
Under the 2020 USMCA, nearly all tariffs on goods crossing North American borders have been eliminated. President Trump negotiated and signed that deal. Anna Cui, Las Vegas, Nevada, for NET25 World News.
And the news continues here on NET25. We'll be right back.
Nothing is quite as simple as it seems. To understand the world better, we need to take a closer look. Experience knowledge. Tomorrow Today.
With only weeks left in the NBA season, the Los Angeles Clippers and New York Knicks meet for the first of their two scheduled meetings. In Inglewood, California, Ava and Alan with this report.
The Los Angeles Clippers host the New York Knicks for the visiting team's first game at the Intuit Dome.
But on the court, LA pulled the welcome mat up from under their opponent, downing the Knicks and adding to New York's loss streak. Clipper starters Harden, Leonard, Batum, and Zubats delivered double-digit performances. Harden led the way with 27 points, with Zubats adding his offensive presence in the paint. But throughout the first 3 quarters of play, the Clippers and Knicks kept the contest close, with neither team establishing any significant momentum over the other until the fourth quarter, when LA poured on the pressure, grabbing the 105-95 win over New York. Post-game, Coach Lue talked about the mindset his team needs to have in the face of players out due to injuries.
I know we had a lot of guys in and out, injuries, rotations have been different, but just getting better every day. Just try to understand what we're good at and what we need to improve on both sides of the basketball. And continue to grow, being short-handed, not having a lot of days of practice. Our guys have really been locked in and walkthroughs and shoot-arounds and trying to get better as much as we can. So we just got to take it game by game, and hopefully, we'll start getting more and more bodies back.
While New York's inaugural visit at the Intuit Dome didn't go their way, spectators, many who were Knicks fans, still marveled at the league's newest arena.
it's a lot better than where like the Lakers play, like where they used to play. It's a lot better. They should check it out, but instead of that, go to New York, check out the Garden. You'll see a real game.
The lights show was cool. They had some fireworks, and there's all of these cameras. We got 4 camera angles. That was pretty cool. But it's so big. It seems like it's so big. And I like the interactive stuff when we was playing the game.
There's so much to do. There are basketball hoops outside that people are playing on the inside. Everything is all brand new. Literally, we could just walk right in because of the technology that they have here and get seated. You could go through the concession. So it's really quick.
The Knicks and Clippers will meet one more time in a regular season that ends next month.
In the highly contested Western Conference, the Clippers need to make every game count in order to secure another playoff berth. Reporting from the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California, Yvonne Allen for Net25 World News.
Lights Camera Auction. Get ready to bid on a piece of Hollywood history. A spectacular private collection of vintage movie posters amassed by U.S. collector Dwight Cleveland is hitting auction block on March 27th and the 28th. Take a look.
We're talking over 500 posters spanning the golden age of cinema and beyond. From the whimsical world of The Wizard of Oz to the chilling terror of Attack of the 50-Foot Woman and the rugged charm of classic John Wayne, this collection is something for every film buff.
Okay, so this is Dwight Cleveland's poster collection. Dwight is a collector from Chicago, Illinois in America, and he's been collecting for about 50 years. And his lens of movie making is through the medium of posters. And his goal was to find posters that you can immediately view that give you like a synopsis instantly of the movies.
And the crown jewel? This stunning 1933 Czechoslovakian King Kong poster.
This is an original release from 1933. It's a Czechoslovakian poster, but what's interesting, it's the American art. So it's very, very desirable because it's the same image as the American one sheet. So a poster like that could bring 50 or 60,000 pounds.
Other highlights include posters from War of the Worlds, estimated to $25,000 to $50,000, and the Elegant Breakfast at Tiffany's with estimates ranging from $4,000 to $8,000.
Actually, we've seen an increase. You know, people like comfort, they like nostalgic, and even in times of uncertainty, they gravitate toward things that bring them happiness, and movies are magic.
If you're in London, you can catch a glimpse of these cinematic treasures until March 14th. Then they'll journey across the US, culminating in a grand exhibition in Dallas at Heritage Auctions headquarters from March 24th to 26th. So get ready to bid and take home a piece of movie magic. Reporting from London, United Kingdom, this is Leland Spaldos for Net25 World News. Back to you, Alma.
And with that, we end tonight's broadcast. For everyone here on Net25, I'm Alma Angeles. Thank you for joining us. Good night.